MMORPG, the genre responsible for countless sleepless nights, missed real-life obligations, and a mild case of depression. But also fun! So much fun! Why is this genre so addictive? I can't help it, I love MMOs, even though I know they're probably bad for me. It's a genre I can't stay away from. Now, there's plenty of great existing MMOs. World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, ESO, Final Fantasy XIV, all get regular updates and have thriving player bases. But damn, has it been a while since we've gotten a new good MMO. Every game I just listed released between 2004 and 2014, and since then, it's been a whole lot of nothing. Today what I want to do is go over the top 5 MMOs coming out in 2019, and hopefully one of them will breathe some new life back into the genre. Now, I did a video just like this back in 2018, and it didn't go so well. Basically, only 1 out of the 5 games I listed actually came out, and it was a dumpster fire.
Wow. Wow. I just want to reiterate here, as we take a nice look at this vista, I am indeed on the highest graphical setting.
Total garbage. It was not a good game. Now, 2019 is looking much more promising. Every game on this list has at least a tentative, if not a set release date, so let's go ahead and check them out. First game on the list is Torchlight Frontiers. This is an action RPG MMO. It's the 3rd game in the Torchlight series and combines the heart of the series with a shared, persistent, dynamically generated world. You'll be hacking and slashing your way through enemies, discovering ancient ruins, braving dungeons filled with riches and dangerous creatures. Now, this should be familiar to fans of the Torchlight series, but now with that persistent MMO setting. The gameplay they've released so far looks really smooth and polished, like I'm really liking what I see here. Now, they've revealed 2 classes up to this point, the Forged, which is a clockwork robot that shoots, slices, and blasts foes with ember attacks, and the Dusk Mage, who harnesses the power of dark and light. There are going to be player forts where you can construct stations, upgrade gear, build shrines, and even decorate it. Now, the biggest thing worth noting is that this isn't actually being made by the developer of the original Torchlight Runic games, but a new studio from the same studio. Essentially, Etra Games, the people making Torchlight Frontiers, is founded by Max Schaefer, who was the founder of Runic, making the original Torchlights, and he's also the guy who worked on Diablo and Diablo 2. So Torchlight Frontiers, looking pretty promising as a hack and slash MMO, and it is set to release at some point in 2019. The next game I want to talk about is Crowfall, a throne war simulator for those who like PvP. This is also described as the first MMO you can win. I don't know. This is an open world, player-driven MMO with elements of survival and strategy games. This is a game that focuses, though, on large-scale PvP, castle sieges with destructible walls, fighting for control of land, capturing points of interest, and trying to control the resources on the map. There's also a big focus on crafting. Players will harvest resources, craft items, and even build castles. In fact, the best items in the game are entirely crafted, resulting in a very player-driven economy. And although the game does mostly focus on PvP, there are some elements of PvE with some enemies in the mix, but this isn't like a dungeon game where you're fighting it's a PvP game just with some PvE creatures on the map, basically. It promises a variety of campaigns with different durations, rule sets, and environments. Now, Crowfall is currently playable in alpha, and their launch is planned for sometime in late 2019. This is one of those MMOs that every year I'm excited about officially coming out, but it just hasn't happened yet. And as more time goes on, the game looks more and more polished. I also absolutely love the art style of Crowfall, like the character design I think looks wicked cool. So I remain very hopeful for this game. As a fan of PvP, I would like Crowfall to deliver. Next up, we have got Ashes of Creation, an open world, non-faction based MMO set in a high fantasy universe. The devs of this game have said they're unhappy with how modern MMOs have played out, and they kind of want to make their own unique thing. Now, one of the taglines for this game is rebuild, repopulate, and rediscover the world. And that plays into the 4 pillars that they're talking about, which is the node system, meaningful PvP conflict, the economy, and the narrative. One of the more interesting things about this game is the node system. Basically, players build up the world where the regions of the world will level up and grow based on player action. So cities are built, quest lines unlocked, and monsters awakened, all based on what the player base on the server decides to do, where they focus their efforts. And when it comes to PvP, we're looking at things like castle sieges, battles for those nodes and regions, as well as structured arena PvP. The economy will be region-based, so there's no worldwide auction house. We're focusing on things like crafting and trade caravans, gathering resources, and trying to build your own local economy. Story will be told through local tasks, events, and an overarching narrative. In fact, servers will kind of tell their own stories based on how the world develops thanks to the node system. The game's going to be launching with 8 classes, and the combat looks to blend action and tab targets. Now, there's currently a playable version of this called Ashes of Creation Apocalypse. This is a battle royale mode that they released to kind of try to fine-tune the combat, and in the very near future, they're releasing a Castle Siege and Horde mode variation. We're looking at the full MMO potentially coming out later in 2019. Next on the list is a game called Conqueror's Blade, a tactical medieval warfare MMO. This is a hybrid of military strategy and third-person action combat. It's essentially a castle sieging game where you play as the general on a medieval battlefield. You're going to choose from one of 10 commanders from both Western and Eastern civilization. Each have their own unique fighting style and weaponry, so you can pick like the archer, the tank guy, the rogue, all sorts of different fighting styles from different kind of military time periods. And after you pick your character that you're going to play, you then build your own army, selecting from footmen, archers, cavalry, siege equipment, and more. And then you either storm the enemy castle or defend yourself from the invaders. Now, this game is coming very, very soon. They already, in fact, have a Steam page up right now. Based on what we see, it looks like it's like got some pretty interesting concepts and combat and ideas behind it. But just realize this is more of like, as far as I can tell, a castle sieging game than it is kind of a massive scale RPG, if that makes any sense to you. And the final game on our list today is none other than the World of Warcraft. WoW Classic is coming this summer, and it's probably the most exciting and new MMO in 2019. So we're talking about the original WoW experience from back in 2004. Things like harder leveling, reliance on other players, no group finder, the original skill trees, everything you remember from vanilla WoW, more or less. There have been a couple of official blog posts talking about what their plan is for WoW Classic, and I'm just gonna read this off to you. So what they're saying here is the game should look and feel like you're playing World of Warcraft from 2006. Things like combat equations, original models, and hunter skills are certainly part of that. But things like social dynamics are part of that too. The reliance on others, the effort it took to assemble a group, and how that impacted your journey into dungeons, these were all part of the classic experience that we want to preserve. I know you're gonna just say, Force, this is nothing but a nostalgia trip. Why are you actually excited about a game that's like 15 years old at this point? It's not that I think this is gonna be like a revolutionary thing for the MMO genre, but I think it's going to be a fun trip back in time. I know myself and a lot of my friends are just super excited to jump back into the game as it was. Are there going to be some things that aren't so fun that we remember fondly? Yes, of course. Is this going to be a game that I play for 5 years straight like I did vanilla WoW? No way in hell. I'd be surprised if I played it for 5 months straight. I'm expecting a couple of weeks to a couple months is what I'll get out of WoW Classic. And I'm happy with that. Jump back in this game with my friends that I played with back in the day. It'll be a fun time. And frankly, again, it's one of the more exciting things on this list, and that tells you something kind of about the state of the MMO genre. It's not looking so good. So yes, this is planned for release in the summer of 2019. There was a playable demo of this that came just after last year's BlizzCon, and I wouldn't be so surprised if we see another playable demo leading up to the full release. I want to give a couple of honorable mentions to some MMOs that could have but didn't make this list. First, we've got Lost Ark. This is that Korean hack and slash action MMO that people are super hyped for. We just have no clue if it's coming to the West anytime soon. We also have Camelot Unchained, a sandbox MMO with 3-faction PvP that's looking pretty good. There's Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, an old school inspired with a big emphasis on group play. Legends of Aria comes out pretty soon, and this is a top-down player-driven sandbox MMO. And then we have Amazon's New World. Now, not too much is known about this. We've seen some pretty screenshots. There was some leaked early gameplay. It's going to be like a kind of a survival-themed MMO, but they're talking about making it still a traditional MMO experience. There's still a lot of questions behind it. People are excited about New World simply because it's Amazon. Amazon. Is Amazon known as a great development studio? No, but they got some money. And with some money, you can make a pretty polished game. So those are the 5 best looking MMOs that are planned for 2019. And I remain so hopeful that this genre will once again take over my life, for better or worse. I remain confident that at one point in the future, we're gonna see a game that comes back in this genre. And it may not look like WoW, it may not play like WoW, but it'll deliver that special combination of elements, that social interaction, that big open world, that sense of adventure and excitement. Something's gonna deliver sooner or later. At least I hope so. Will it be one of the games on this list? I have no idea. We'll find out. Here's looking to 2019 and hoping it delivers. Thanks guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.